Hi, this is a video on using Fontawesome with Xamarin Forms. Um, I'm using Visual Studio 2019 and Xamarin Forms. I believe it's version 4.0 or 4.1. Um, the reason I'm doing this video is because I kind of struggled getting this to work, and there's a really good article by James Montemagno on this. And with that and some other sources, I got things to work. I don't know why I struggled with this, but I thought I'd do a video just in case other people had some issues. So first thing I'm going to do is create an app from scratch. Xamarin Forms. I created one before, so I'll just call it 2. We're going to use Shell, Android, and iOS. And we will let it build and scaffold it out. And while the NuGet packages are restoring, I'm going to go ahead and the first thing to do is download the actual font from Fontawesome's download page. And I want the web version. I'm going to download the free one. Downloads pretty quick. Let it finish here. I'm going to go into this web fonts folder, and I want this FA solid 900. I'm going to copy it out here to my D drive, and I probably have one from when I did this before or not. So what I want to do is, and I just have this little cheat sheet that I put together for my own recollection. I'm going to copy that into the platform-specific applications. In Android, it goes under the Assets folder. I think I got to copy. All right, what the heck? Okay, not sure what that's about. And you want to make sure in the properties that the build action for Android is an Android asset, and it's that by default. But make sure that's set in iOS. It's going to go under the resources folder. And the properties for it on the build action is bundle resource. We have one other step for iOS. We have to put it in this entry into the info plist file that references that file. Open it with, put it right here at the bottom. Reformat the document so it's all lines up. And then we're going to put in this on platform material family font family resource to point to the to that Fontawesome font, and that's going to go in our app XAML file as in the resources. Now I think this is one of the areas which I had problems with is for iOS you put the font family name, and then for Android you put the file name with the font family name after it. And I really can't explain it, but when you open this font, the actual name is Fontawesome 5 Free Solid. But if you use that name in iOS, it doesn't work for whatever reason. It has to be Fontawesome 5 Free. The word solid somehow, I don't know why it keeps it from working. I wish I had an answer for that, but I don't. I just know that if I do this, it'll work. So going on, to use the icons, you would have to use the Unicode value string names, but there's this handy utility that will take your font file and read it and create a static class so you can use IntelliSense and not have to remember the names for it. You just browse to your font file, it parses it, and you basically just say copy to clipboard, and then I'm just gonna create a class at the root level. I'd probably normally put this under like a helpers folder or something. Paste it, and then I'm just gonna use the about page to test some of this out. So I can use those static classes. I'm gonna make a reference to the assembly. And I'm going to use two examples here. Just one as a label, using it as a font, and then one using the new font image source that I believe is part of 4.0 Xamarin Forms. And I'll just throw this out here, about here, I guess. And I should have my IntelliSense, which I do. So I am going to run this on Android first on my emulator. That's my startup project. So we will build, deploy, and debug. This may take a little bit here. I may speed up past this. All right, so the application is starting up, and we got the typical boilerplate kind of starter template stuff here. That all works. Now on my about page, I have my little map icon, and then I have a cog, or like a settings gear kind of icon. So that works on Android. And now I'm going to do iOS, so let me start up project and start the build, deploy, and debug on that. And I may speed up this a little bit since it's doing its first build. Well, I guess it's going fairly quick, so we should have the app up here. And again, here's the regular starter app stuff. And there's my map and my icon, or cog, my icon font, or font icons. So one thing I noticed, and it seems like it only happens with iOS, is that like if I wanted to change that cog to something else, coins, I save it and then build it out again, and I noticed this is where there seems to be a problem where like it caches in the build that icon font, because what'll happen is when it comes up here, it actually doesn't change. And this is where I kind of had a problem where, like, okay, I'm doing something wrong, but it's just, I've had this happen on two different computers, so it's just, I I guess it's a standard thing you have to deal with. But what I found was when I make a change that involves the fonts, what I'll do is I will first of all remove the app off the emulator, and then I'll do a clean on my iOS project, and then a build, deploy, and debug. And when you do that, then it picks up that new font change. I don't know. I mean, you can change code and other XAML, and it works, but it's just something about the font. I mean, I don't know. I can't answer it. I'm not a Xamarin guru, but I just know that this works. So we'll wait for it to come up here. Again, it's the standard app stuff, and when I go into my about page, I now have coins. So that's kind of the key things is to me I think is the deleting it off the emulator, clean, and then do a new build. And then I think also the other part is the font name. It has to be this. If you put solid in there, Android actually works, but iOS quits working for whatever reason. But hopefully this video helped, and if you're struggling with it, hopefully this answers and any questions and gets you going. Thank you.